Am I the a-hole for getting my boyfriend expelled? I, 23 female, have been with my boyfriend Chad, 22 male, since I was 15. We were planning on getting engaged next year, and I'm pregnant. But now we're on the edge of a breakup and I'm starting to feel like it's my fault. Fall 2021. I took a world history class and finished it with the highest possible grade. Chad isn't so great with history, so he asked if he could see my final reflection paper to look over my phrasing, double-check his MLA format, etc. I said sure, shared it with him, and didn't think too much about it until I got an email from my old professor. She asked me if I knew Chad. I told her I did, and she explained that he had turned in my paper from last semester. I was furious and confused. She apologized and said that she had to report both of us, but she would say she didn't think I meant for him to plagiarize my work. I got called down to the dean's office, and it was explained that if I was found guilty of letting him plagiarize my work, I would be expelled. So this whole semester would be meaningless since finals are in May, and I'd have to pay back my scholarship. I immediately went, I can prove he was just supposed to look at it for structure, and showed them all the text of him asking to see it for comparison, thanking me because I explained the format in a very detailed way, sent him other papers online with similar structure, etc. They asked for my phone, to which I said no, but I'd email them screenshots. Chad was called down next, and they told him what I had said. He was suspended and expelled like a week later. He doesn't have a scholarship to back though, and he's transferring to a community college. He's furious and insisting that he just accidentally turned in mine instead of his. I told him that I never said he turned in mine on purpose. I just was able to prove that I didn't intend for him to plagiarize me. He's packing up his stuff and saying he's going to move back in with his parents and, well, figure things out. The assistant dean contacted me to officially clear me of any involvement. But she did tell me that this isn't the first time he's plagiarized me, after a harder look at some of his other work this semester. She mentioned that it was a crime, but I didn't want to press charges or anything, so I told her I didn't need to report of their findings. I'm crushed and feel used. He said I should have said it was an accident instead of just defending myself, and so do several of our friends since they say that I don't know for sure, and I'm about to have his kids, so I should put our relationship above everything else. I'm basically isolated now. I have one friend and my family who agree with what I did. So I don't know. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I don't know if plagiarism is a crime or not. I was just repeating what the ad said. I haven't looked into it since I wouldn't press charges anyways. But she said it's a form of theft since one of my papers was featured in a magazine. I'm in Texas, if that matters. Now for the top comments before reading the little update. Not the a-hole. This guy put you in jeopardy and damn near got you expelled despite being totally innocent. If he were any kind of man or had any sense of honor or loyalty, when he got caught, he should have fell on his sword and said, "It was all me. I broke into her computer. She had nothing to do with it." Instead, he tried to drag you down. This is not a suitable person to have in your life, much less a partner. It's better if we both take the fall for my accident. Before Opie said there was a history, I didn't believe for a second it was an accident. Indeed. Plus, when the college investigated further and found more evidence of him pulling this stunt, Opie would have been banged up as an accomplice if she would have tried to cover for him with this ridiculous story that nobody would buy. If he just accidentally turned in the wrong paper, how did it get his name on it? Aside from being a snake and not giving a hoot about dragging Opie down with him, he's also kind of an idiot. Never enter into a plot with a moron. It will be a fiasco every time. Not the a-hole. If Chad has done this before, then it wasn't an accident. You didn't get Chad expelled. Chad got himself expelled. His actions also could have gotten you expelled if you hadn't been able to prove that you hadn't allowed him to copy your paper. Honestly, I strongly suggest you break up with him. I know it will be more complicated with a baby coming, but you should not be with someone so callous about your future. Yes, she literally did nothing but clear her own name. He wants her to take the fall with him, and that's utterly unreasonable, given that he's been pilfering her work and turning it in as his own for a while. Little update. Thanks everyone. I'm surprised and thankful for all the responses. Chad has been making me think anytime I'm upset/angry it's the pregnancy hormones, so I have been doubting myself a lot lately. I'm notifying my landlord since it's a monthly lease and taking my mom's offer to move back in with my parents. He's pissed and is now saying this is proof I've been cheating and the baby isn't his since I'm moving out, even though he started packing first. So he's saying he won't help with anything until a paternity test. Luckily, all the baby stuff is at my mom's because I left it there after we went on a shopping spree, so he can't take/sell it. His mom is threatening to sue me for full custody of the baby if it does turn out to be his. My dad is checking to see if my uncle knows anyone who does these kinds of cases, because he's a lawyer but doesn't handle that kind of thing. Thanks everyone. I'm overwhelmed, but I think I'll be okay. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband off for expecting me to prepare his bags? My husband works full-time while I'm a stay-at-home mom with 3 kids. He splits childcare 40-60, but lets me handle all of household chores, from cleaning, cooking, vacuuming to shopping and whatnot, saying it's my duty in replacement of work hours. We were okay with these arrangements, but days ago, his mom invited him to his sister's wedding. She didn't invite me because the wedding is allegedly child-free, but I guessed it was because of a fight we had 4 months ago over what school my eldest should attend. I was hurt since I love sister-in-law, but my husband said his mom is basically paying for the wedding and the list she had for the uninvited is longer than the one she had for the invited. He advised me not to get too worked up over it and just focus on the kids while he's gone. The night before his flight, he asked that I put his things together and tossed me a list of what he needed. I gave it back and said I won't do it. He was puzzled, asking why. I told him I was tired and went upstairs to sleep in the bedroom. Moments later, he barged in calling me petty for basically refusing to help him pack just because I wasn't going to. He said, "Your problem is with my mom, not me." I asked him why should I prepare his bags. He said because he's busy and because I always do it. I said yes, but why should I do it this time? He said because of 4 letters SAHM and it's essentially part of my household chores. I told him off, said I won't do it, end of story, and went back to sleep. He threw a 3-minute fit, then walked out, then came back and turned the light on at 3 a.m. to pack, preventing me from sleeping. I told him this was pathetic, and he said he's no match to how petty I am and ignored when I told him to turn the lights off repeatedly. He went to the wedding. Now he's back looking agitated most of the time and keeping on complaining about the stance I took. Am I the a-hole for not preparing the bags? Not the a-hole. Your husband's been treating you like crap for a long time. A stay-at-home mom with 3 kids should not be doing 100% of household chores. And packing up your husband's clothes is not a household chore. That's basic taking care of yourself. He is essentially claiming that he is one of the children and you're his mommy too. Also, not inviting you because the wedding is child-free? You're not a child. He doesn't stand up for you to his family and treats you like a maid. It's not a good look. And couldn't they have hired a babysitter or asked a friend or relative from her side to watch the kids? But the husband didn't care. It should be up to the OP and husband to decide if they can find childcare and make it work. To simply not invite without an explanation is a telltale sign that the child-free zone is not a legit reason to not receive an invite. You are his wife, the mother of his children, not an indentured servant. Y'all need therapy and you need an exit strategy, not a-hole. You sure wouldn't know it from the way he treats her. This is how my ex was. Only, I make more money than you do, so you have to make up the difference, was his position until he made me quit working. Not stay home. In my opinion, he shouldn't have even gone to the wedding. But again, my opinion. Stay-at-home mom doesn't spell out servant. You do household chores. That doesn't include packing for a trip you aren't taking. You aren't his mother, a babysitter, etc. And like I said, he shouldn't be going while you weren't invited, and expecting you to pack for him on top of it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my boyfriend to pay for my mother's surgery costs because he has too much money? I will make it very short. No need for any details because I'm so exhausted. My boyfriend works an excellent job that brings him so much money. He works as a computer engineer, and he has money more than he needs. My mom is having surgery the next month, and it's very important, but neither of us has enough money. I have been dating my boyfriend for a year now, by the way. I told him that he should help mom because he has more money than he needs, but he refused, and he said that he's not going to pay thousands and thousands of his money for mom. I got angry at him and told him that he shouldn't expect me to pay for him then if it happens and he needs surgery one day. He called me immature and I stormed off. I just don't get him. We are partners. Shouldn't he help me through sickness and all that's bad? I would have definitely helped him with money if I were in his shoes in this situation. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You're the a-hole. Not your money, not your choice. Also, you don't get to decide who has too much money. You can tell him to pay and you're the a-hole. It is entirely up to him whether he wants to do so or not. You're the a-hole. You've been dating less than a year and you expect him to take on a huge financial burden for your family. It doesn't make sense. You are not entitled to his money. I can see her using him as a light bank while demanding she gets the best treatment. What does she even do for him? It's not even listed if she truly loves him, etc. Sheesh. I predict a breakup in the horizon. You're the a-hole. You're the a-hole. He should dump you immediately. His money is not your money. This entitlement test would quickly expand to all your other expenses. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to share our nanny on vacation and potentially canceling the trip over it? My 33 female husband, 35 male, grew up with younger siblings. However, he also had two older half-brothers, 43 and 46 male, from his dad's first marriage. He wasn't close to them growing up. They didn't even live in the same state. But 43 male recently moved to a nearby area with his family and wants our families to be BFFs. His kids are about the same age as ours, 11, 8, and 3. We do an Airbnb vacation every year with our kids, 12, 8, 6, 2, and our nanny Lauren. Having Lauren there means we can spend more time with the kids one-on-one. They get to do more of what they want to do. There's someone to take the baby back to the house when she gets overstimulated. And yes, occasionally my husband and I can have a dinner out alone. In addition to the 7 of us, my husband's brother, 29 male, usually comes along as well. We don't expect him to babysit, but he's still sort of around for the kids and have another set of hands. This year, 43 male also want to come so our family could bond. But we've had issues at different points during the planning. For example, we were looking at Airbnbs. What we would usually do is a master bedroom, 1 to 2 rooms for the kids, a room for Lauren, and then 29 male on a pull-out couch. Sister-in-law really wanted to put Lauren in with the kids, which I felt like was inappropriate. Second of all, it became clear as we've approached this trip that sister-in-law expects to be able to use Lauren as well. For example, I said on our first morning, husband and I were taking 12, 8, 6-year-old on the sailing activity while 2-year-old stays with Lauren. And she said, great, I think we'll take 11 and 8-year-old into town. Clearly intending to leave her 3-year-old with Lauren. I said, not sure if Lauren will be available to accommodate. And my sister-in-law was like, it's only 2 kids. What's the problem? I went to Lauren and said, what do you want here? And she said she'd be fine with it as long as she was paid 50% more, and also was never solely responsible for more than 4 kids outside a house. In other words, it's fine if they're just hanging around, but she wasn't comfortable keeping 7 kids safe at a beach. She was also open to sharing responsibilities with a second babysitter. Sister-in-law's kids are actually pretty easy, which she knows. I told sister-in-law that and gave her the option of covering the 50% increase or covering another babysitter. Sister-in-law was like, well, we can't afford a babysitter for the entire vacation or to pay Lauren. And I don't understand what the big deal is, considering she'd rarely be alone with all 7 kids anyway. There's 5 other adults. Sister-in-law/brother-in-law are doing okay money-wise, but we are significantly more comfortable, so my husband thinks we should just eat the cost of Lauren's additional pay to keep the peace. But I'm really irritated by sister-in-law's attitude. I'd honestly want to just cancel the entire trip at this point, even though flights in the house have already been booked. This feels like a sign of things to come. Not today, home. Lauren is already being kind at a 50% upcharge for twice the work. I'm a nanny and I would double my hourly charge in this situation. Your sister-in-law's the a-hole here thinking that Lauren should watch her child for free. But OP, don't cancel the trip. Use your words and send sister-in-law a text. I completely understand that your budget doesn't include a 50% charge from Lauren, so we've let her know that she doesn't need to watch her kids at all. We'll pay her typical rate. We just want to make it very clear that she is being paid to watch our kids. And we absolutely won't put her in an awkward position where she's expected to watch any other kids, even for a few minutes. I want us to just be able to enjoy the trip and wanted to make sure that's all out in the open before we go. I'd give this a 9 out of 10 chance of backfiring. Sister-in-law will lie, say, okay, fine, and when push comes to shove, it'll be the same, I don't get what's wrong. It's only a few kids. She can take care of them, routine. OP and Lauren will most definitely have to deal with this. OP, don't cancel the trip. Just do it without sister-in-law. Not stay home. I have a feeling if you do decide to eat the cost and pay Lauren the extra 50% yourself, you might not have a nanny by the end of the trip, because your sister-in-law will be ordering her around or cross a mother boundary. Exactly this. It's one thing to eat the really fair upcharge, but it's sister-in-law's general attitude that gives me pause. I fully expect that if you eat the cost, that sister-in-law will take that to mean that she has full use, read abuse, of your nanny. I would avoid that. Not stay home. You're protecting your relationship with your family babysitter and her requests are totally reasonable. It's not your responsibility to pay for your sister-in-law to have a sitter. I think canceling your whole trip is a bit dramatic. Instead of clarifying to your sister-in-law that Lauren will not be available for her to use if she's unable to compensate her, and you'll be telling Lauren the same thing is totally reasonable. The main issue being if OP and spouse go out to dinner, there's nothing to stop the in-laws from leaving Lauren with her kids. Exactly. And Lauren might not be in a position where she feels comfortable saying no, either because of power or it's an inappropriate moment. I feel like usually on a trip like this, there would be a lot of casual shared care, like one parent gets up to grab food for everyone, while the other parent keeps watching the kids play together and disciplines/feeds/monitors/comforts the other set of kids as needed. And if the kids are playing together, it's hard to draw the line or blank the other three. Like when my kids have a friend over, Lauren doesn't refuse to make a second snack or refuse to interact with an 8-year-old because technically she's not paid to do so. There will be times where it's appropriate to say, no, I can't do that, or go get your mom. And we want to empower Lauren to take advantage of those times, but that won't always be the case.